Good evening, baseball fans. It is Thursday, September 5th. I am Suzy. That is Kelsey. This is Bourbon and Baseball, All the Balls edition. And it's been a hot minute since we have recorded, Kelsey and I, an actual episode. We saw each other in person like a week ago, but who wants to record when we're in person together? We don't want to do that. Well,
So many
that's
other things to do.
so many other things to do. Go see three different teams in three different stadiums in
We were a
three
little
different
busy. Yeah.
states. Before we get really into it, though, and telling everybody about our travels, let me give you guys the rated R warning first, because undoubtedly there will be some four-letter words on here, probably from me, that just because that's who I am as a person. So if there's littles around or if that's not your jam, I do apologize. Put some earmuffs on the kiddos or listen to it later, or just try not to be offended by all of the curse words coming out of my mouth. I don't know. But regardless, there's your warning. You have time to either exit out, don't exit out. We're a lot of fun. Put the earmuffs on littles, take a pause, put them to bed, come back. And with that, we will get started. Kelsey, I've missed you in the last week
I
or
know.
so
It's been
that
almost
I haven't
a
seen you.
week since you were here,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was a whirlwind because not only did we go to 3 games in 3 days, but we went to 3 different stadiums in 3 different states in 3 days, which was pretty awesome,
It
and
still breaks my brain. I want you to know how much it breaks my brain. And it literally breaks my children's brains as well. Probably more so for them. The fact that I was raised in Vegas and it took I could go like 3 hours and go to Cali or 3 hours and go to Utah, but it was a 3 hour trip. It wasn't, oh yeah, like 15 minutes and we'll be over the state line. I'm sorry, what now? That's not a thing. And especially here in Texas, where literally I'm an hour away from everything. And
let alone
yeah,
the next state.
yeah.
Yeah, so the thing that I didn't realize, and I was just thinking that I'm so glad I did not realize this until after we had driven to Baltimore, to Maryland. I'd driven to Maryland where you flew into, and then the next day we drove up to New York, which are both about 90 miles in opposite directions from where I live. And then the third day we went to the Philly Stadium, which is only about 15 miles, like less than that from where I live. And on that day, I found out from the bouncer at the Xfinity Live bar, who was kind enough to let me know that my driver's license has expired. And I was driving us all around in my new car with my expired license. So it had only expired like 10 days before or whatever. So hopefully I wouldn't have gotten any serious shit. But if I had known that, I would have had like insane paranoia because I'm such a goody two shoes and a rule follower that I would have been like,
See,
I'm gonna go to jail.
that's that oldest kid energy right there. That's what that
It is. It is.
is.
Hardcore. Yep. I have every bit of it. But Susie, I want to ask you because have you ever done that before where you haven't because you've really only been to 2 other major league stadiums, right? So you haven't
Mhm.
been to I have been to, I think, 8 other ones, but I have never been to different ones back to back. And it was really
Right.
cool because I think we had such a direct comparison of each stadium and each experience. And so the first game that we went to was at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland for the Orioles versus the Astros. And we sat in the section out in the outfield known as the Bird Bath, which was pretty cool because it is definitely
Don't
special.
don't
There
try
is
and eat out there, though. Don't take any food out
yeah,
there.
no, we learned that the
That's a
hard
lost
way.
cause. Yeah.
And that's what we're here to recount to you is we definitely learned some things the hard way, for better or for worse. But yeah, we sat in the special section and there's a lot more crowd engagement out there. We had the kid next to Susie caught a home run ball from Jeremy Pena.
Yes.
So it's like prime home run territory. And they have Mr. Splash, who's out there, whose whole job is just for fan engagement. And he pumped everybody up and he gave away free stuff out the wazoo the whole time. We are not children, or I wasn't adamant enough about my birthday having been recently, or we probably could have gotten some free stuff, but we were just riding the wave, having a
Oh,
good
yeah.
time. And then the second day, as I mentioned, we drove back to my house in Jersey and then we drove the other direction up to the Bronx. We went to New York City and we went to see the Yankees and the Rockies play. A game everyone I'm sure was just
That was
waiting.
high on my priority list, not gonna lie. I have wanted to see Michael Toglia play in person. Everyone's, "Who the fuck is Michael
Well,
Toglia?"
I'm so
Exactly.
glad that you checked that off your list. But it did I don't know, we'll get into all of the specifics, but yeah, we went to that game because, the company that I work for has tickets, and we were able to get them for free, and they were, like, great seats, so we were like and it's right in the middle of these other games that we're going to, so we got to add that
Might
to
as
our
well.
list and have that
Yep.
adventure, and then the next day, we went to see the Phillies play the Astros at home at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. So, let's go down the list here and just talk about some of the highlights from each of the stadiums. What was the best food that you had at the 3 stadiums that we went to?
Okay, so just to be very clear, I didn't eat a ton at the stadium. I don't understand how all of these stadium food
No idea.
personalities,
We were maxed out
social
very
media,
quickly.
I don't what are y'all taking one bite? and then it's going in the what's happening? I don't understand how you're trying 43 different things at the stadium because after literally the one thing that I would eat, I was done. At Camden, I think Camden was probably the best quote unquote food we had, and it was the most, I don't want to say authentic, but the most regional food
Yes.
that the area is known for. And FYI, Texas people, I don't know if you're like me, but as Kelsey was telling me about all of the various places that we could try and the various stadiums, she's like, "Oh, well, they have this and this, and then they have a barbecue place." I'm all, I stopped and I was like, "I don't, that's not." I'm just gonna be really honest with you. I don't really want to eat barbecue from a place that's not in the South. I don't think that's gonna be great. And she thought about it for a second. She goes, "That's actually a good point." And so we stuck with the seafood. We stuck with the seafood. We got the
Mhm.
crab egg rolls, right?
Crab cake,
Crab
egg
cake egg
rolls.
rolls. And like I referenced earlier, don't eat in the bird bath. Don't take the food that you want to eat in the bird bath because it will immediately get wet. And so I'm holding these napkins over these
Top
crab
dollar
cake
for these crab cake egg rolls, and yeah.
trying to salvage them. We're, like, shoving them in our mouths. I didn't really get to savor them. They were very good, but for $17, I think, I wanted to savor it a little bit more and not shove them in my mouth as fast as I could, but like I said, I'm trying not to get them wet, so also another side note, I for literally all of the Astros fans out there, I am never allowed to go to an away game ever again.
Yeah,
I
I
am
guess
the
not.
jinx. I didn't think I was, but apparently I am, and they don't wanna perform when I'm in the crowd, so I will just sit my happy ass at home, watch them on TV like everybody else, but it was a good time. So, I think Camden was the best food. I
Yeah,
think I
I
ate the
agree.
most at Citizens Bank, though.
You ate the
I think
most? Oh,
I
yeah,
think
probably.
so.
Mhm.
I think that yeah.
We were there for the longest too, because we got
Yeah.
down there a little earlier. But yeah, no, I will say the thing about the crab cake egg rolls too is even though obviously they're a little bit more expensive, it is more of a thing that, like, you can't get everywhere, so I think that was cool, and we split them, so, like, you had 2 and I had 2, and
Mhm.
that was
It was
more than enough.
perfect. Yeah.
So, I would say for that reason alone, it's definitely worth it, and yeah, I am sorry to friend of the show, Scott Braun, who recommended the barbecue place to us that we didn't go to, but Scott is also from the East Coast, so maybe he needs to come to
He
Texas
needs to
and have
come
real barbecue.
yeah, and I'm not one of these Texas people that are saying, "Oh, Texas barbecue is the best." I don't actually give a fuck that much 'cause there will be people, don't you worry, there will be people that will literally fight you on if Texas barbecue is better or Kentucky or, like, Tennessee, and they can tell you all of the fucking differences and shit. I'm not that person. Any barbecue in the South, though, I feel like is probably a little bit better than any barbecue up north. So I'm gonna
That
say that.
I think that's totally fair, and to your point, it's like you want something that is special to where you're at,
Yep.
especially when you don't live anywhere near where
Yes.
you're at in your case. And then, yeah, we had the spicy chicken sandwich at Yankee Stadium, which was good. It was good,
But it wasn't
but
regional, but again, it's the
yeah,
Bronx,
there was
so
nothing, like, special about it
yeah.
in particular, and
I
for
wasn't gonna shell out, like, $50 for the judge is it the judge burger? Is that what
oh,
that
I
was?
had the judge burger, I didn't tell you, I don't think. I
Oh my
had the
goodness.
99 burger because I went back a few days after we were there because the Cardinals were in town, and I had it actually was only, like, $2 more than the chicken sandwich that we got. It was really good. So, I will say, I feel like it was worth it, like, it definitely was the high quality Wagyu
Interesting,
beef, and
okay.
I don't really
Oh,
know my beef, but it was good, and my husband, who is a little more particular about those kinds of things, he also really enjoyed it.
okay.
But, yeah, we also got shakes at Yankee Stadium, and
Yes.
I'll be
The
honest, I
shakes were
think
it
we
was
got
a
them for the
lot.
cups, right? We needed the cups, they were beautiful, the photo op was incredible, but I think we both drank maybe a quarter of our
Yeah,
shakes.
yeah, and I was like, "I'm so glad that I spent all of this money for this fucking
Yeah,
plastic cup that" but my girls really enjoyed them. They thought
that's
they were
important.
super fancy drinking out of them. They're
Yes,
drinking their water out of the Yankee cups,
love that.
and they were cracking me up with they were like, toasting with one another, like, with these cups, and I was all, "That's exactly why I bought them,
Worth
just
it.
to enjoy that," yeah. That
At
was good.
yeah, at Citizens Bank, we had, like, Italian sausage with peppers, right?
Yeah. That was
And
pretty
then
good.
that was good. Yeah, again, not really location specific, but we walked around the entire ballpark at Citizens Bank, which I
Mhm.
think I don't know, certain and we'll get into this as we talk about, like, the different experiences that we had at these overall, but that's not as accessible to do depending on the ballpark and just the setup, but I've done that now twice, like, both times that I've been at Citizens Bank, and it's a cool thing to just be able to do in about 15 minutes. You can walk around the whole
Yeah.
stadium. So we felt out the food options, and I felt pretty good about that choice. And then we got soft serve in the Fanatic Cup, which was
Yes. And
very
you can kinda
important.
see
Again,
it back there. Over my shoulder, you can see them. My husband was
added them
wait,
to
no,
the
I can't. I don't know which way. There we go, right there.
there it
If you're on
is.
the YouTubes, you can see me pointing over my shoulder. If you're audio only, just timestamp this and go find it. But they are 2 super cute plastic cups with the Philly Fanatic on them. Super adorable. and then a little baseball that we had a super yummy frozen. Did you have the margarita?
Oh, yeah, I had the margarita
Yeah,
and you had vodka lemonade,
a
right?
frozen, yes, vodka lemonade. It was delicious.
Mhm.
Again, I only got them really for the cup because it was super cute. Did you see though, I should have tagged you in it. They had like holographic souvenir cups that have the players on them.
What? At Citizens Bank?
Yeah, at
Alright,
Citizens
well,
Bank.
that
You're
will
gonna
be
have
on my list next
you're gonna
time.
have to
I was
find them
just
the
texting
next
my
time.
mom telling her to come up for a game, so hopefully I'll be there sooner rather than
Yeah.
later again, and I can make that happen. But I will say with the margarita, that was I don't typically enjoy cocktails at baseball games because 1, I like drinking beer at baseball games, but 2, they're usually, like, really fake and sugary and sweet and disgusting. But this was I've had that's the second time I've had a margarita at Citizens Bank, and it's pretty solid for a
Yeah.
ballpark margarita. It's definitely above par, I would
Yeah.
say.
I
So,
was surprised by it, as I typically don't do frozen drinks
yeah.
if I'm gonna do a cocktail, and I'm not an adult and I don't drink beer, so I typically get a cocktail, but when I do, it's typically a mixed drink. I'll do a vodka cran or a vodka lemonade or something like that. But this slushy lemonade vodka, it was pretty good, and not gonna lie, I before I ate, gave me somewhat of a buzz. I was pretty excited about it,
Yeah.
which in turn led me to not have my resting bitch face that I normally have, which in turn apparently just made me all kinds of friends at
Yeah,
Citizens
this
Bank. I
was
wasn't
great.
aware.
This is gonna segue right into the next thing that I wanna ask you about because I have a feeling you might say the best fans were at Citizens Bank. I don't know, is that would you agree? What was your best fans experience?
Okay, so originally the best fans were at Citizens Bank, and then Jose Altuve came in and pinch hit, and then I was gonna have to find
Ooh,
somebody.
yeah,
They had it up until that point, but really and truly, I think the best fans overall were probably at Camden at Baltimore, and there you can't really differentiate between Orioles fans and Astros fans very easily. You really gotta read
right,
shirt and pay
right.
attention to the markings because orange. Overall, I think Orioles, but yeah, maybe I guess maybe it was the outfit that I had on, but all of the Philly fans just came and engaged with me, telling me that they like my
I mean,
outfit, they like my
literally probably
hair.
10 different people stopped her. Phillies fans,
Yeah,
all Phillies fans stopped her and were like, "I don't like the Astros, but I love your outfit." And she looked very cute, but she wasn't there are
yeah,
some people who get really decked out or wearing something crazy unique. You were wearing the throwback jersey,
yep,
and you looked super cute, but it wasn't like you were wearing something that was like, "Notice
yeah.
me." You just
Over the
looked
top, like the astronaut girl that was literally wearing
yes.
a
We did
spacesuit,
see
like
someone
orange
dressed
jumpsuit.
in a
Yeah,
NASA yes.
yeah,
Yes,
I love that.
we saw people dressed as the Fanatic. You were
Yeah,
not wearing anything like that, not like begging for attention,
mm-mm.
just like
So
with your game fit on, and
apparently,
everybody needed to tell you they loved it.
absolutely. And then let's reverse just a tiny bit though, because
Okay.
let's tell the peoples how sheltered I have been in my live baseball viewing. In my live baseball viewing, I have been to Minute Maid Park, which is a dome. I've been to Ranger Stadium, which it's not actually called Ranger Stadium. I don't actually remember what it's called because one is the old one and one is the new one, and I
Oh,
can't
Globe
ever
Life.
remember.
Yeah.
Globe Life. It's like Globe Life Field, Globe Life Park, whichever. We just call it Mimic Maid Park because it legitimately feels like Minute Maid. It's like Minute Maid Light, really and truly. Also, a dome. And when I went to Wrigley a couple months back, I didn't really get the outdoor ambiance feel because we were in a suite. I'm
Mhm.
not a bougie bitch. My best friend is, not me. So again, I didn't get that like outdoor feel, but it was like cold in April. Thank Jesus I was in a suite, or else I probably would have sworn off outdoor stadiums forever.
I was
Um,
there outside and I was good.
but you're
I've
used
gotten
to it.
different
I'm not. I had to text you and be like, "Am I going to be fine in this puffy jacket that I bring, or do I need 43 more layers?" So Camden was the first really truly outdoor stadium experience that I've ever had, and I'm all, "Are we gonna be in the sunshine? Do I How hot am I gonna be?" Thank Jesus, it was actually, like, a pretty nice day, and since we were in the bird bath and we kept getting sprayed, it was cool. These people don't know anything about humidity, people, not anything at all, and they were saying that it was humid, and I just laughed. I just scoffed at them. That we had great weather. I was a little hot. It was hot pretty
Yeah,
much all
but
weekend,
it
but it
could have
wasn't
been way worse.
unbearable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't super unbearable. And then Yankee Stadium, I felt it was Yankee fans, don't come for me, okay? Just I'm not saying anything against the actual Yankees right now, I'm just talking about the stadium. I felt like it was very blah. It's just very
Yeah.
if you took Yankee off of it and you just inserted another team in there, I feel like it would not have that, I don't know, that feel that everyone's, "Oh my god, it's Yankee Stadium, blah, blah, blah." It did not, it felt very cold and just and not cold temperature-wise, just very, I don't know, there was just no atmosphere for me.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I don't know if I was expecting more, or I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but when I walked in, I was like, "This is it? Oh, all right." For all of you people that love Yankee Stadium, great. Love that for you. I just I
That's
don't
what we're
understand.
missing too, because I feel exactly the same, and I think maybe are there parts of it that I haven't experienced that make it more special, but we walked around quite a bit there too,
Yeah.
and I feel exactly the same, and I've been there at least half a dozen times now.
I
But
was
okay,
told that the old Yankee Stadium apparently had way more character and,
yes, I have heard
a
that as well.
better feel, and so I wasn't a baseball fan back then, I obviously wasn't gonna go, so I can only go on what people tell me, and that's what I've heard. So, out of all of the stadiums, ambiance-wise, Citizens Bank and Camden, great time. Great ambiance, great atmosphere. The stadiums themselves are actually really pretty. I think it's the brick. Maybe I love the brick.
Yeah, I love the
I think I have
brick.
a big penchant for brick. So, both
Mhm.
Citizens Bank and Camden had that brick going for them, and they had that outside area of the actual stadium portion that you could hang out into, and that was really cool because Minute Maid doesn't have anything like that either. And it's I don't think I like either Citizens Bank or CPP better than one another. I think I like them equally. But if I was gonna go back to watch a game, it would probably be at Camden if I had a choice.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Camden too, just because all of the things that you said, like the brick for sure, the open air, like it just seems so open and therefore bigger. And the area around it is really cool too. Like I would love to go back there, and it seems like there were some really cool places to eat right around there, and just it's easy to walk around. I think it was
Mhm.
easiest to park there and get around and not feel overwhelmed. And yeah, I think Citizens Bank is a close second for sure, but I think out of the now 10 major league stadiums that I have been to, Camden Yards is the best one.
N
Like,
up
would
there?
be my
Okay.
best ambiance
Oh,
overall,
okay,
just
yeah.
yeah, as a venue. But obviously the fans make up a big part of the ambiance too, so I don't know, I guess how I felt I expected, especially because we were sitting in the bird bath, I expected people to be, like, a little more hardcore, but maybe that's
Mhm.
not the Orioles, like, vibe. The Phillies fans are
Yeah.
really intense. Maybe that's just not Orioles fans' vibe, and I completely appreciate that. I don't need you to the loudest I think I've ever heard a stadium, ever, and I've been to playoff games at Yankee Stadium, but the loudest I've ever heard a stadium in person was when Jose Altuve came into pinch hit at Citizens Bank Park. And they were booing him so aggressively. I felt like it was shaking, like the ground was shaking. So, I'm not saying I need that kind of intensity, but I was missing that edge a little bit, especially because of where we were at in the stadium. Definitely a lot of season ticket holders or, like, regulars that were out
Right.
there, and they were in the game, but I just didn't feel like the same conversations were happening like they were around us at the other 2 stadiums. But what was your take on Yankees fans? Did you I don't know, did you have any expectations going in?
No, especially because I didn't have any I had a 45's hat on. I had a Colt 45's hat, and I had an Astro fan, one, dap me up
You
in
did.
line
Yep.
because he recognized the hat. But for the most part, I think if I had actual Astros gear on, my experience probably would have been a whole lot different. Had
Yeah.
the what did my shirt say? Introverted, but willing to talk about
We'll talk
baseball
about baseball.
shirt, and I don't know, what were we in line for? Oh, it was the ring giveaway, their World Series
Yes.
ring giveaway or something.
Yeah, it was like a 2009 World Series ring giveaway, and apparently
Oh, I'll
people were
refrain,
lined
I'll
up
refrain.
hours
You're very
before.
excited. Very excited for it, and but we missed the giveaway where the players were handing out jerseys or
I was
whatever
there on
it
that
was.
night too, but again and I got in the stadium an hour before the game and they were already gone.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
you
people
needed
were
to line
lining
up
up,
way
like
earlier.
yeah, like 4 hours
You
before the
needed
game.
to
Listen, I have a job, I could not. But the Aaron Judge football jerseys were cool, and I had multiple people come up to me during that game 'cause I was wearing my Cardinals gear and be like, "Did you get a jersey?" And I was like, "No." Twice, this exact same interaction happened to me. And they were like, "Are you just saying that because people have been asking you all night?" And I was like, "No, I literally got here I got here an hour before the game and they were gone." And these were people who already had jerseys too, but they were trying to get Cardinals fans to give them their jerseys. And I was like, "Okay, even if I got one, like, I'm not giving it to you. It's Aaron Judge,
Right?
and it's a cool jersey."
Yeah.
But, man, so, yeah, people get crazy about those giveaways. I don't know, if fans of other teams or Yankees fans, if you're here, is it, like, always like that? Is it specific to Judge? It seems like the World Series ring was pretty crazy too. Like, I know sometimes you can be excited about them, but, like, I have ugh, my Wayno
Mhm.
and Yachty giveaway, but I don't remember people being, like, just totally whack about any of those in particular the way that they were both times that I went to Yankee Stadium recently. But yes,
I
Suzy and I were also probably confusing the hell out of people because we were wearing, like, pretty neutral attire,
Yeah.
but we were, like, rooting for the Rockies, but then also we're like, "Oh, it's cool to see Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in person for the first time." So we were all over the place, but we definitely were the only people in probably the whole freaking stadium that were like, "Yeah, Rockies are doing something."
There were like 4 other Rockies fans that we saw,
Yeah,
literally
we
4,
saw more
and I
Phillies fans at the Yankees-Rockies game than we saw Rockies fans.
yeah.
Ugh,
It was fun, and that was the game where Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and Big G all hit back-to-back home runs, and so Yankee fans were just all
losing
up
their
all up in
mind.
arms. They loved
Yeah.
it. It is a very cool feat because it is rarely ever done, and it just but, like, the night before, they got waxed by the Rockies,
Yeah.
and I have no room to speak because the Astros just got swept by the Reds, but I wasn't aware that the Reds were the Astros' daddies. Legitimately, like, literally. I kid and I joke about the A's being the Astros' daddy, but it's actually the Reds. I think that we've won 1 game over the Reds since 2013.
Wow.
Since, like, 2013. The Reds. The Reds, people. I don't know. It's baseball. It's baseball, Susan. That's what people tell me. Anyways, and yeah, but it was interesting. Like I said, though, Phillies fans, I think, were in it more. I don't know. I think for some reason I expected Yankee fans to be in it way more, like, each pitch, but
Yeah.
maybe it was because it was the Rockies that they weren't. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. When so the other thing that we experienced, like, that was very obvious and different at Yankee Stadium than the other 2 was that anytime the Yankees were not batting, everybody got up. So go to the bathroom or get something to drink. It was like half the stadium cleared out. Same thing happened when I went later that week to see them play the Cardinals. And I would say that the Cardinals, again, like, they don't have an Aaron Judge, but they have Nolan Arenado and
Right.
Paul Goldschmidt and Mason Wynn, players that people should know and, like, baseball fans you'd think would be somewhat enticed to stick around for. But same sort of thing happens. I would also just say because of the nature of the stadium, the capacity, I think, of the stadium is larger than the other 2 at Yankee Stadium. And because it's in New York City, it's just a little bit more cramped feeling. Guaranteed rate is the same way in Chicago. So it was the only time, and I can't remember if we had to do this when we were there, but it was a sellout for the Cardinals game that I went to, and I had to wait in line for food for a long time and wait in
Mhm.
line for the bathroom even. So the other 2 stadiums were a little bit more accessible in terms
Yeah.
of that as well. That's not something that I felt like we ran into. But nature of the beast, being in New York City, really anywhere. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's unfair to really complain. But I completely agree with you. I was expecting them to be a little bit more intense. And I actually was messaging with someone, a Yankees fan who follows me on Instagram, who was at the Cardinals Yankees game, but he didn't realize that I was there until the next day. And he saw that I posted some pictures on my story. And he messaged me and he was like, by any chance, were you in section 213? Because I think I heard you. And I was like, yes, yes, I was. And he was like, oh, you were like a few rows behind me. And I was like,
Oh my
mm-hmm.
gosh, that's
And
hysterical.
you did
Shout
hear
out
me.
ref.
You did hear me.
We
But
love
and he said, as a Yankees fan who goes to games all the time, that I would have had a very different experience if I was being that kind of vocal in the bleachers.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
depends on where you sit. It was cool too to see the roll call. We saw roll call, which they do, and I did think that was pretty cool how if you haven't been to a game at Yankee Stadium, in the top of the first inning, when the Yankees take the field, everybody in the bleachers, they will chant each individual player's name until the player acknowledges them, and then they move on to the next one. And that was, like, cute and fun, and it just brought the vibes up at the beginning of the
Also,
game.
the grounds crew does the YMCA
Oh,
when they
that was
at,
the
like
best
is it
part.
the top of the 7th? Is that when it is?
I think it's
I
yeah, I think it's between the 6 top
sig
6 and
it
maybe
was
something like that. It's right
adorable,
before
and
the 7th inning stretch.
I wasn't aware that was a thing, like, that it was a
Love
tradition,
it.
and I loved it. And I need to know, though, when the when you apply for the grounds crew, do you have to audition, literally? Like, do
I
you have to do the
You
dance?
have
And
to because I'm here to tell you as someone who has so I am a drummer, I've also taught rhythmic fitness a lot of my life. I am here to tell you not everyone can keep a beat like that. So you should absolutely there is no way that it's not part of it
that's a
because
so
there are
if
definitely
anybody
people who
knows
cannot do that.
anybody on the grounds crew
We need
in
them.
Yankee Stadium, we would love to interview them and just get a perspective. And we need to ask these questions. If anybody has a hookup, let us know, please, because we would love to talk to them. Love to talk to them. Also, Mr. Splash. Anybody has a hookup there?
Yeah,
We
we
n
really need to
I
get
have
an
so many
exclusive
questions.
with Mr. Splash.
Yeah.
How did he get that job and how do I be next in line, basically?
It's Garrett Cole's twin, if Garrett Cole had
Oh,
glasses
yeah,
on
he
football.
did his profile did look exactly like Garrett Cole, and we were like, Garrett Cole, every day that's not his 5th day, he is actually at Camden Yards, if you didn't know, but
Yeah,
confirmed, he
doing
took his
Mr. Splash, yeah,
sunglasses off, it was not actually him. Definitely could have been a relative, though.
for sure.
I
But
wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised. Let me ask you about we were talking about how we saw more, like, Phillies fans. I feel like we saw a lot of people wearing jerseys or attire for different teams, specifically at Yankee Stadium, which makes sense because it's such a transplant place
Right.
being in New York City. How do you feel about wearing you wore your Astros hat, but otherwise, like, we stayed pretty under the radar. How do you feel about wearing, like, a jersey, like, being full on decked out in another team's gear when you go to a game and that team is not playing? Are you gonna rep your team
So
regardless?
I have mixed feelings about it. Before I was an absolute crazy person about the Astros, I would see other people going to games in completely different sports gear or whatever, and I was just very confused by it. But I'm not one to be like, "Oh my god, what are you doing? Why are you wearing that?" It was just a passing question, and
Yeah.
realized that maybe that A, they just it was like a last minute thing and this is all they had, or B, they just really wanna make sure that everybody knows that they are not a fan of either one of these teams.
That could
And
be,
so
yeah. I don't know, it's so rare that I would go to a game and not have any sort of way
oh,
one way or the other. But
affiliation,
maybe
yeah.
that's I mean, we follow all the teams. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, last year, I went to a Phillies Brewers game up in Milwaukee pretty
Mhm.
late in the season when I was living in Chicago because it was just really easy to drive up there, and it was around this time last year. The Cardinals were, like, so fucking out of it, and then my husband was like, "Do you wanna go watch a meaningful baseball game?" And I was like, "Yes, thank you." God, you know me so well. So we went to watch a meaningful baseball game, and I'm definitely not the type of fan that's like I was like, "Brewers, go do your thing." Like, the Cardinals are out of it. I'm not gonna be somebody
Right.
who's, "Oh, I wanna see the Brewers lose just because the Cardinals suck." And I wasn't living in Philly yet. I didn't have my, like, full-on Phillies allegiance. I've always liked the Brewers a little bit anyway, and some of their players. So that was probably the most toss-up I've ever felt
Uh-huh.
at a game, but I still like, Aaron Nola was starting, and I really wanted to see him, like, have a great
Okay.
outing. So I still felt, if anything, I was rooting for the Phillies. But I don't know how I feel about it. I think I like to rep if I do have a clear allegiance, I'm gonna rep
Mhm.
the team. Even like, I went to a White Sox Nationals game earlier this season, and I wore my White Sox stuff because Tommy Pham and Paul DeYoung, and because like, why would I just don't have a reason to root for the Nationals, I lived
Right.
in Chicago for a decade. But, yeah, I don't think I didn't feel compelled to wear my Cardinals gear to the Yankees-Rockies game. I don't know.
So let me ask you this
So,
then. How do you feel about wearing one team's hat and then the other team's jersey, or vice versa? So
we did see that, didn't we? Mm,
'cause,
okay.
especially when the Astros and Rangers played, I saw so many, like,
Oh,
split allegiances, I don't even know which one to call them. I think that offends me more than
yeah,
just full on choosing, but then I get it, I understand that whatever y and I think Texas is weird regardless though, because there is a contingent of Astros fans when the Rangers beat the Astros, that they actually rooted for the Rangers because Texas, and at no point in
mm.
time am I gonna fucking do that, absolutely not. If for some reason, if the Yankees get out of it, th Mets fans are not gonna be rooting for the New York
Yeah,
Yankees, and
totally
vice
different
versa.
though, because I would say, like, in St. Louis, if the Cardinals are out of it and the Royals make a run here, I do think a lot of Cardinals fans there isn't that same
Interesting.
rivalry.
Okay,
So,
I'm all choose a side. That for me, I
yeah,
think offends me more than full on, neither one of the 2 teams are actually playing and you are decked out in a whole other team's gear. Like, I don't think that offends me. I think at that point, you're just trying to, like, make a statement and be like, "I don't like either one of these teams. I just came to enjoy a ball game." But
yeah,
the whole hat, one team, jersey of the other, or whatever, I think that offends me a little bit more. Not offends,
yeah.
but it gives me pause. It makes me giggle a little bit. Yeah,
It
it is.
requires
It is what it is.
explanation. So if I
Yeah.
can't yeah, if you're gonna do that, just know that people like us are gonna ask you, "What's going
Yeah.
on here?" And you need to have a good plan that explanation out for us. Maybe write it on a note card, maybe have it on your
Right.
business card and just hand it to us, because I need to know. Do you love a player that plays on the Rangers, so you're wearing that jersey, but then you're actually like, I could see that maybe, but even that I'm thinking, as you're saying that, how much I have been watching Tommy Edman play for the Dodgers lately. I could not wear a Tommy Edman Dodgers jersey. I would wear actually, and this is bringing me another scenario. See, there's no black and white answer to this because I am thinking now if I were to go to a Dodgers Angels game as
Mhm.
this last series, I would wear a Tommy Edman Cardinals jersey because I would be like,
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
here
well,
for
see,
Tommy Edman.
that makes sense, though.
Yeah, there's
If
a
I
reason.
go to a Dodgers-Angels game, I 1000% will be decked out in Astro stuff. That's
I'm
so
gonna
so,
wear
like
my Tommy Edman jersey and I have Shohei Ohtani Angels socks. So
perfect.
that would be really at least my Reds would go
That'll just throw everybody in a tizzy. They're like, "I don't
Mhm, mhm.
understand what's going on here. What's who which team?" And then you're like, "Yay, baseball!" And yeah, speaking about the Royals and other players going to other teams or your favorite player going to other teams, the trade deadline passed, but then the waiver claims happened and you're all, "Wait,
They're still
Why are they DFAing people to go to other teams, and what's happening? And the Royals, the Kansas City Royals, I would just like to give us, Kelsey, our
Mhm,
flowers,
mhm,
just
mhm.
a golf clap here and there, because what did we say from the very beginning of the season, guys? We told y'all that the Kansas City Royals were gonna be a good team, they were gonna make a run, and here they are, and the Astros broke them spiritually and physically, literally physically, but they made some claims, they got some veteran players, and hopefully those veteran players do some things. I know one of the players did a lot of things. Tommy Pham. Now, I was so
Tommy
sad. I was
Pham.
so sad when the Cardinals released Tommy Pham, but
Oh,
apparently he asked for it.
I was
I
gonna
was like,
say he
"Oh,
had
alright."
yeah, he had to have asked for it.
Yeah.
Let the man compete, and if the Cardinals
So,
aren't gonna do it, I'm glad he said, "Get me outta here."
yeah, he did. He and I watched one of the interviews, and I felt so much better about the Cardinals after I watched
Yeah.
that interview, and he
I
wanted
don't
to
think
go
that
to a
they
team that was
wanted to. I
contending.
think the Cardinals are still delusional to this day that they are still competing. So,
Oh, okay.
I'm sure they would not have if he was not adamant about it.
Okay. Yeah, so Tommy Pham asked the Cardinals for his release, and apparently the Royals wanted to get him at the trade deadline, and the Cardinals said no.
Yes.
And so the fact that Tommy asked to be released so that he could go to the Royals and try and contend was great. They picked up Robbie Grossman from the Rangers to DH, and unfortunately, Vinny Pasquantino, their first baseman, needs or actually got thumb surgery and is going to be out, I think, 8 weeks. So pretty much all of the rest of the regular season if they actually do make it and contend. Hopefully, he can come back for that. But they picked up Yuli Gurriel from the Gwinnett Stripers, which was the Atlanta Braves AAA team. And when Yuli made his return to Minute Maid Park on the other side of the dugout, I got a little choked up. Not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh, that's precious," because apparently that was the first time that he had come back to Minute Maid after he hasn't been back since 2022. And it was very sweet, and I loved it. I wanted him to strike out every time, though, but he didn't. He was Yuli, and he slapped a single the other way, drove in a run, because that's what he does, and I really hope, though, that the Royals get something going because after Bobby Witt, there's no protection for Bobby Witt now, because Vinny Pasquantino was that guy, and was that guy in the clubhouse too. Don't get me wrong, I love Tommy Pham, and I think Tommy Pham's gonna throw down and will defend the Royals with everything that he has, but I don't think he's that guy to be the clown, and I'm not calling Vinny Pasquantino a clown in the bad sense. He's jovial, and he's gonna joke around with
Yes.
you, and he's
Yeah.
gonna be that happy-go-lucky guy, and they just Tommy Pham and Vinny Pasquantino give off different energies, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Different
everybody says
vibe.
that. Yes. You guys know.
I feel you.
Yeah. So, it was so the Kansas City Royals are trying to make it. They came off of 3 4-game win over the Guardians to come into Minute Maid for the Astros, and then they got swept. And now they turn around and played the not the Cardinals, the Guardians again? I think they did.
I'm not
Can't
sure. They
remember though.
currently hold the 3rd wild card spot in the American League. I'm not terribly worried about them because the Mariners are not nipping at their heels by any means.
That is true. However, the A's walked them off the first 2 games, but the second 2 games couldn't do it. Yeah, they did. They went back and played the Royals, excuse me, the Guardians.
Mhm.
And let's see. I think the Guardians took it though. I think the Guardians took that series from them. So it's interesting to see if they can have any sort of momentum. Maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. But we shall see how far the pickups of Robbie Grossman, Tommy Pham, and Julie Gurriel will take them. Yeah, Guardians took that 2 of 3 series. They won 2 games of
How's my guy Jason Heyward working out for the Astros? He was claimed off of waivers after he was DFA'd by the Dodgers.
He is not doing as well as I had hoped. Defense still glove is still there. His glove is still there. The first game against the Guardians, excuse me, the Royals, he made an amazing diving catch and then I think drove in a run for a single, but hasn't done too much since. Played some good outfield defense, but really hasn't done anything with the bat. That is very sad for us. It is better than I say better than Mauricio Dubon. I don't actually know who he's gonna be better than. Our outfield production needs Kyle Tucker back so badly. He is another veteran presence in the clubhouse, and so between him and Breggy and Altuve and we got a couple of young kids on our club now, and so it's interesting to see that dynamic, like them
Huh.
working and talking together. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the outfield and who gets DFA'd or sent down. when Tucker gets activated this hopefully next series with the Diamondbacks that we have, because we picked up Ben Gamel as well. So if you had told Astros fans, "Hey,
Mhm.
guess what? In August, your outfield is gonna consist of Mauricio Dubon, Ben Gamel, and Jason Heyward," we would have called you dirty, filthy liars. That's why? Who? Jason Heyward? Are you sure about that? Ben Gamel? Who is that exactly? But this, it's being held together, the roster by hopes and dreams, duct tape. We'll get there, maybe. I don't know.
I'm just glad he found a solid place to land where again, like he gets to contend because you heard his teammates even share over his whole career how big of an impact he has in the clubhouse. And I thought that was just like lame of the Dodgers. So I'm glad that he found a place to slot in that's not just like he still is very much in it and gets to play with uh, in an environment where his presence will make a difference on and
Yeah.
off the field. And I'm sorry, but we've got to talk about Rich Hill, who is a Major League Baseball player. Once again, a 44-year-old Rich Hill. Rich, I I want to be your first interview when you announce your retirement. I hope it's 10 years from now. So please let's not talk anytime soon. But Rich Hill has signed with the Red Sox. He's struck out his first batter of the 2024 season. I have no idea what he's done since then. I don't want to know. Do not tell me.
I won't tell
I
you.
did
I
look at
just
his ERA, so I'm not looking any further into it. But
yeah.
congrats. I'm so glad he's back. He wears number 44. 44 is a lucky number of mine. So I just feel connected to Rich Hill in all of the ways. I'm a Cardinals fan, so I have to love old pitchers. And yeah, I'm rooting for you, Rich.
You know who wears the number 44 for the Astros?
Jordan, right? Yeah. I know
So
who's a
pick the
44
number.
on every team. I got
That's
a
awesome.
weird thing with it. It's always a
Okay.
superstar player. Ellie De La Cruz,
Oh, okay.
Rich
Yeah.
Hill, Kyle Gibson. Anyway,
I would definitely agree with the Ellie De La Cruz. I don't know if I would consider Kyle Gibson and or Rich Hill a superstar, but very well known.
they are in
Very
my
well
book.
known.
Harrison Bader
Eh,
for the Mets.
kind of,
No,
maybe.
they're stars to me because they
Yeah,
wear
for sure.
44. Just know if you're wearing number 44, I'm watching a little bit more closely. And teams that we are always watching more closely, Susie, are the teams that we have deemed to be for real. You mentioned the Kansas City Royals, which we have had the read on since the very start. I want to ask you about the Dodgers right now because I don't know if they still have the best record in baseball. They did when I initially was looking at this, but obviously, like they're the Dodgers. It's World Series or bust for them. We've been just pretty much waiting for them to get to the postseason because that's when their real season starts in terms of what are they going to do? Because we know they're going to be there. So,
Them and the
do
Phillies
you
are tied.
yeah,
Them and the
okay, so
Phillies.
then the Phillies have the best record in baseball. I also, when I wrote this a few days ago, Ohtani had 43 home runs and 43 stolen bases. He definitely has, like,
More
now
than that. No. Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
45, or even more than that maybe at this point. Definitely more than 44. So
Yeah.
Ohtani is doing all of the things that I guess we thought he would do. I know a lot of people were talking about, oh, since he's not pitching, he's going to be an even better hitter. And I said we need to find it and clip it. I was like, I'm ready to see this guy run the bases because I think he is going to rack up those stolen bases. He absolutely is. So Otani is for real. We get it. He definitely is for real. I'm really interested as we get into the offseason to start to talk about his rehab and how him playing through all of the rehab, like the rehab being a full-time job in itself, some may say. We'll get into that down the line here. His dog Decoy throughout the first pitch. Did you see that?
I saw it. I need the entire MLB to have dogs doing first pitches.
Yeah.
I don't care about the people. I don't want the Hawk Tuah girl doing it. I need all of the dogs.
I
Give
don't
me
even know
all
who
of the
that is.
dogs
All of the
doing the
dogs.
first pitches. Okay. You don't know who the Hawk Tuah girl is?
No.
Oh, I'll have offline.
I'm
I'll tell
guessing
you
it's
that
because
offline.
I'm old and or I'm not on TikTok. Probably both.
It wasn't even a TikTok thing. We'll talk about it offline.
Okay.
It's fine. Regardless, so yes. And the fact that Ohtani said that it took him like 3 weeks or something
Yeah.
to teach Decoy to do it. And then they had a dry run, like they did a practice run
Yeah.
at Dodger Stadium to make sure.
I
And I'm
saw
all
he gave him the high five.
that was the most adorable thing ever. And I need it to happen. I need everybody, all of the teams to do some sort of something. You know that all of the teams have players that have dogs that could do this.
Yes.
I need it to happen. I need it to happen.
Mhm. I agree. You were here and you saw my dog Louise does the high five trick. So I will offer her up too. Obviously, I live within driving distance of a number of stadiums. So you just let me know. And Louise
Right.
and I will come out and do the first pitch for your
Uh,
entertainment.
44 and 46, by the way. 44 home runs, 46 stolen bases.
Okay. 44 home runs, 46 stolen bases for Ohtani. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely for real. We get it. Tommy Edman, underrated pickup. And this is straight from the mouth of a Dodgers fan who shared with me that for his career, Tommy Edman is hitting 309, 367, slashing 469 with an 836 OPS in high leverage situations. He has been showing that off in multiple games already for the Dodgers. So, yeah, I would say he is an underrated pickup, and I can't wait to watch him be a freaking postseason hero. But here's what I need to know. I know Tommy Edmonds a star, and people are going to start to see it. I know Ohtani is super for real and is probably going to be NL MVP. But do the Dodgers have enough starting pitching to make a deep postseason run? What actually is different for the Dodgers this season than last season when it comes down to that?
I don't know. I don't think they do. Dodger fans, don't listen. But really and truly, though, I don't think you do. I mean, Tyler Glasnow, they're hoping that Tyler Glasnow can come back. What are we doing? What What do you mean you're hoping that Tyler Glasnow can come back? J Are you just being shady and not telling us? You're just like, "Maybe not, who knows?" Yes, Yamamoto apparently is coming off the IL, but Clayton Kershaw now, and I honestly don't think that they put much stock into Clayton Kershaw. I think Clayton Kershaw was gravy. If they got anything from Clayton Kershaw, perfect. If not, whatever. But
Yeah.
now he has to be in a boot because of bone spurs or something in his big toe. Walker Bueller looked a little bit better. He may have figured it out before the postseason, but you got Bobby Miller out here just throwing batting practice. You got Gavin Stone. Justin Roboleski is eating innings for you right now. They had River Ryan that went down with TJ. They got some relievers that came back. I wanna say Blake Trinan came back. But, I mean, I don't know. Who's your day 1 starter?
I
Is
right
it
now
gonna
it's
be is it like
Flaherty.
Yamamoto? Is it Jack Flaherty? What's happening?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even they're like, who are the 3? Yeah, who are the 3 starters? If you're lucky at this point, it's Yamamoto, Flaherty, and
Tyler Glasnow?
is
Maybe, hopefully.
yeah.
I got yelled at on Twitter and told that Google is free and to go along because I was asking if I'm like, "Dodgers, you okay?" Because they literally gave up, 6 runs at the top of the second. I'm all, "What happened, Dodgers?" And someone, he seemed like he was a Dodger fan, I don't know, came at me and said, "That's what happens when, they put their trust into a guy that's been washed for the last 3 seasons." I'm sorry. It's Bobby Miller that's on the mound. Like, he made his debut last
Yeah.
season. Like, he made his debut like, his rookie season was last season. What are we doing here? I was told that Google was free and to run along. All that was missing was, like, a pat on the head, and I was gonna fight someone. I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was
fight
gonna
someone.
say, wait, Bobby Miller went yesterday. So, yeah, I think that they really were hoping they would be in a different situation with Bobby Miller specifically. So that is notable, but not in the way it seems it was
Yeah.
mentioned to
But,
you.
they sent him back down to AAA and then brought him back up, but I don't think it helped. I don't think it worked out any whatever was the issues that he had because he got shelled, and Reed Detmers, who the Angels had sent down, shoved for them and struck out 10. I don't know.
Yeah, I got Reed Detmers on my fantasy team.
Oh,
1 or 2 times this season, it did me good.
yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, "I okay." We were in the upside down last night because the
Yeah,
White Sox beat the Orioles, the freaking Angels beat the Dodgers, the Reds beat the Astros. Just it all of the things that you would bet on, be like, "Oh,
yeah.
that would make sense." It didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. So, I don't know.
In regards to other teams that are for real, this is when it really comes down to it, right? The last 20 games of the season are here. So my next question for you is which team that currently holds a wild card spot do you think is most likely to make a deep postseason run? I am not including the Yankees slash Orioles in here because I think we know that both of those teams are going to be in the postseason, are going to be highly competitive. So these are the teams that currently hold wild card spots: the Twins, the Royals, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Braves. So out of those teams, I would even maybe include the Mets because they're tied with
They're
the
on a hot
Braves
streak.
now. So out of those teams, pick one. Which one do you think we could see in a CS or the World Series?
I'm not going with the Twins or the Royals. I love both of those teams. I don't think the Twins have the pitching. They're still missing I think Byron Buxton just went back on the IL. Carlos Correa is still on the IL. I don't think they have enough offense. So I think I'm taking the Twins out.
Mhm.
The
Agreed.
Royals, I don't think the waiver claim pickups are gonna be enough. Their pitching is legit. Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Brady Singer, Cole Reagans have all been wonderful for them, but they need to pick up a couple more bats because literally after Bobby Witt Jr., there is no protection.
Salvi?
No, Salvy bats before him though.
Oh, after. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
you just meant at all in the
no,
lineup. That's
yeah,
fair. That's
no.
fair.
They need if they got a couple of, like, big bopper, like, corner outfielders, they would be dangerous. They would be
Yes.
really dangerous.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna say no to the Royals. You know that I love my D-backs. I think but the Padres, though, oof. The Padres that got all of their starting pitching back, and their bullpen is legit, and they have possibly the clutchest player ever in Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis came back. I think it's going to be the Diamondbacks or the Padres are gonna make a big run.
Yep,
Maybe
I
not so much
completely agree with that.
I don't know. I'll let you know about the D-backs after we see them this weekend because their starting rotation has left me wondering a little bit about them. I don't know how I feel about if I trust Brandon Pfaadt and Ryan Nelson to be included in a postseason run, even though they have been
Yeah,
really good for them this season.
right.
I'm like, is it really? And Zach Allen has been like up and down. Merrill Kelly has come back from injury and has been solid for them, but not the Merrill Kelly of like last season. And Erod has been inconsistent. So I don't know. Again, I'll let you know after this weekend.
I do think the Diamondbacks' potential is there, but yeah, I agree with you that the Padres seem like they could just click and fire on all cylinders. I think Mike Schilt is a manager who deserves it and is completely capable of leading a team deep into the postseason. And I do think it would be really cool. While obviously we all wish that Peter Seidler was still around to win a World Series for the
To
Padres,
witness that, yep.
his efforts and his willingness to really go for it and put the team and the city first is very much a huge part of this current team. So it would be cool, and I think there is like that little extra fire in that organization right now to make it happen as his legacy. So that would be cool. And yeah, I agree. They just have I love the balance of they right now represent a really good balance of I think like money thoughtfully spent or like just not, I don't know, money that they had to spend to be like
Right.
have superstars were like willing to do it. But then as opposed to last season, they had to go back and be a little bit more strategic with it coming into this year. So that's the kind of team that you want to see win. Now, on the other side of the coin, there are still some teams that are no one is mathematically eliminated yet, or the White Sox have to be.
Yeah, the White Sox, Marlins, and the Rockies are all
Okay, yes,
mathematically
good.
eliminated.
So we're going to leave them out of the conversation, but there are still
Yeah.
some teams that, especially because they have a lot of games left within the division, like things could change. You never know. It is baseball. Is there a team that's not currently in contention that you think could make a comeback in the last 3 weeks of the season here? Cardinals, Cubs, Red Sox, Tigers, Mariners, any of them getting you excited?
No, no. I mean, we're gonna have to do a deep dive we're gonna have to do an episode on the Tigers later on
Yeah.
and go back and see when exactly this turnaround has happened for the Tigers, and does it have anything to do with Javi Baez and when he went on the IL? I need to know what the record has been since Javi Baez has been on the IL
That's fair.
because they've been playing a lot better, and I wanna say that they are within, like, half a game of the wild card, maybe,
The
if I
Tigers?
read that correctly? Yeah,
Mm,
I
mm, mm,
think
mm.
they have the same
Yes.
exact record as the Red Sox.
As the Red Sox, yeah, so they are half a game back. Or no. No,
So they are
they're 5 games
1, 2,
back.
3, yeah, yeah,
5 and a half.
5 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I
but
don't
half
know,
from the Mariners.
is Tarek Skubal gonna continue doing, like, what he's doing? They've got a couple of other decent starting pitching options over there. I don't think that they've got enough for a CS, but a wild card
Right.
would be fun for them. The I think the Red Sox are done. I I don't know what happened with the Red Sox. They died, and I felt
Eh,
very badly reading all of those things about Rafi, and I was like,
yeah,
"Oh,
I think that the balanced schedule really changes the narrative for some teams, some teams more than others, but I think this will always be the case of where there are teams at the break that and it makes it more exciting, right? It makes it more of a toss-up of you gotta decide if you're in or not. There's more teams that are buying than selling, hopefully, because of the expanded playoffs and because of the balanced schedule, so it's just not as telling as it used to be, and I think it's good for the game, it's good for fans because even my my dad who is and my brother are both, like, smart enough not to be on baseball Twitter, so they still have a soul, and they very much still think the Cardinals are still in this, and listen,
oh,
we've been
that's
Cardinals
so
fans long
cool.
enough
I
to
love that."
know that it was only a few years ago when they had, like, a 0.2% chance or it was a 2% chance, I think, of getting into the playoffs, and then they went on a 17-game win streak, so, like, That
It can happen.
that is we're not that far removed from that, so there's a reason in that alone that the hope is alive. But yeah, the Red Sox are one of those teams too where you really thought, "Oh, we didn't give them enough credit." We've said that a lot over the
Mhm.
past couple months, but when it's all said and done over 162, it does typically even out, and lo and behold, the 500 teams are 500 teams. That's just
Yes.
how it goes. That's why we play 162. So I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of change here. I think the most interesting thing is going to be to see who that last National League wildcard spot is going to be. But I think it's going to be between the Braves and the Mets, just like it is right now, which is
Yeah. Which is
crazy.
crazy to think because it's the Braves, but they've been hampered with injuries too and performances from or underperformances, I should say, from key players that you did not expect. And yeah, I don't know. I think also though it's going to be interesting to see who gets the wild card spot in the AL because right now the Astros are chasing down the Guardians for the 2 seed. I don't think it's going to happen. We could have really put some distance between us and the Mariners if we had done anything against the Reds, but the Reds are our daddies, and so we're just gonna have to do something else. But as it stands right now, I think if it was like the wild card playoff, I think it would just be like us and the Twins, right? Because the Twins are ahead of the Royals right now. Yeah, about half a game. Oh, but wait, but it's between what the Yankees and Baltimore. So whoever doesn't get the top for the AL East has to play the where is the little chart?
Yeah, it's easy to not count the Yankees and the Royals because they're both going to be in the playoffs, but one of them is gonna have a wild card spot. So then there's only 2 other wild card spots.
Right? So, it'll be interesting to see what all happens with that, but the Orioles are getting healthy again, like, they've got a bunch of pitchers about to come off the IL. I don't know what the Yankees are gonna do for their closing situation, so, I
Yeah, maybe next week that's what we'll have to talk about Clay Holmes a little bit more, but we might lose
oh
some
my
Yankee
goodness.
fan listeners. But to close it out today, Susie, I am just a huge Scott Boras fan. Love to see that he has done it again. He has waved his magic wand and got Matt Chapman this time some big money. How did you feel about this one?
I woke up and thought, "What the actual fuck?"
Yeah, I literally was like, "Wait, did someone repost this? Did I?" He signed with the Giants in the offseason. No, it wasn't 6 years. Like, I was so confused. I was
Yeah,
so confused.
yeah,
I did not think.
and apparently, when he signed his first deal in spring training so this is coming from Farhan Zaidi, the interview that they did to announce it or whatever.
Mhm.
Apparently, when Matt Chapman signed the deal in spring training, he just threw out, "Hey, hope we can get an extension done, like, mid-August or something." So he was ar I don't think at any point in time he was ever planning on opting out and trying free agency.
Yeah, no, Scott Boras is notorious for not doing extensions in the middle of the season. So when you see this is done, that means like he already had a really strong pulse, fully confident on what the free agent market would be for Matt Chapman, and he knew that he could screw the Giants over the hardest. So I don't know, man. It's part of me is like good for him, but
Right. We're never going to fault a player for getting his bag because you
yeah,
sir, you go make that money however you're gonna make money. He is, what, 31 years old? It's gonna take him through his 37-year the hot corner is a hot corner for a reason.
yeah,
You are gonna get old, Chapman, and your bat is not the greatest either. So, I don't know. It was it's most interesting to me the ripple effect it has because now essentially
mhm,
this sets up for Alex Bregman because Alex Bregman is really and truly the only other like third baseman free agent out there. If Eugenio Suarez, if the Diamondbacks don't pick up his club option, like I guess he could go out.
mhm.
But defensive wise, it's not anywhere close. Offensive wise, up until this month and last month, there was talks about DFAing Gino. So I'm just interested to see how this contract affects Breige's market and if he will sign with the Astros again because essentially he wants a long-term contract. And they all do, but the Astros are notorious for not giving long-term contracts. And quite honestly, I don't know if I would want a 36-year-old Bregman on my team. I'm like,
Yeah.
can I have a 33-year-old Breggy on the team?
And that's if you want that 33-year-old, you're gonna be paying the 36-year-old, and that's and again, like, I get it. I am glad that baseball has guaranteed money in a different way than some other sports, but I just
How old is Arenado?
33.
You stop it right now.
Yeah, he's
Is
turning
he really?
33 in May April or May, I believe. Yeah.
I thought he was old.
No, Paul Goldschmidt is 37. He's gonna be 37 in a few days.
How do you feel about
Maybe
how do you
Arenado's
feel about that?
34. No, he's 33.
How do you feel about Paul Goldschmidt saying that he wants to come back and play next year, Kels?
I think that he will probably be willing to play for a price that the Cardinal I think he wants to stay in St. Louis enough that they will make it work, and honestly, if he plays the way he's been playing for the last few weeks, sign me up, pay him whatever.
Okay. But if he
Go
doesn't,
back, tell your friends.
if he doesn't though, like
If he doesn't
if it's like a Jose Abreu situation,
yeah, it's
that's what
mostly
I
that it's just
really
so
that's
hard
what
to
I really
watch,
worry
right?
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's just so hard to watch. The Cardinals have the depth within the organization that, like, they're not he's not gonna be holding a roster spot that they wouldn't have the flexibility to adapt, but yeah, they're not gonna go sign, like, another first baseman if they don't re-sign him, so that's where I'm
Okay.
like, they might as well. He can be the
Okay.
Brandon Crawford of next
Didn't they
season.
DFA Brandon Crawford?
They did! Listen, it's a sad part of our of sports in general. I hate that you have to this is why everyone should just be like me. I am an actor and I was born to play old lady roles, so I'm gonna peak when I'm like 70. I'm gonna
There you
go
go.
up and out.
Perfect.
We
That is a
can't
good plan,
all
Kels.
we
I love it.
can't all have that trajectory.
I love that so much for you. I'm so glad that you have found your niche in within that. Yeah, I feel like Paul Goldschmidt though is more beloved, obviously, with the Cardinals since he's been a Cardinal, and it won't have that Abreu rage that all of the fan base had. And it was just so sad for me because we saw how good Abreu had been, like just 1 year removed, kind of. And it just was such a steep fall off. And
R
I'm like, "Oh," like, that would hurt. Obviously, I'm not a huge Cardinals fan, but that would just hurt me to hear people trashing Goldie, and I even saw people trashing Goldie, like, this season about
Oh,
his
yeah.
first base,
Oh,
like
yeah.
so if that happens again, I it hurts me that's not even a Cardinals fan, so I don't even know what it would
Yeah,
do for, like, actual Cardinals fans that love Goldie, like, how much it
right.
would hurt.
Yeah.
Go out on top, sir, on a high note and just I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that we should put that on our list of interviews to try to do is like with a player who has aged out and had and experienced that decline really in any sport in any way, shape, and form because there is I don't know about you, Susie, but I'm not a competitive person. Like I'm just not. I'm my husband is actually the least competitive person I've ever met in my life. He is so chill. He's just so zen. He has no ego. He's I want to let you in to make you feel better about yourself. If it makes you feel better about yourself, that's how I win. Like that's just literally him in his very essence, which is incredible. I'm not that uncompetitive, but I
Right,
really like I don't have that edge to where I don't understand
right,
how players but I can only imagine, right, how
right,
difficult it must be to choose to be done and what that transition is. So, yeah, all we can do
yeah.
is speculate, but it's definitely a real thing because there are so many players that will wheel themselves out there until they just absolutely cannot.
Yep. We'll revisit this in the off season. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it in the off season and figure out what makes them tick and all of that fun stuff. But we are going to wrap it up. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know, again, it's been a hot minute since Kelsey and I have recorded, but due to no fault of my own, between my AC breaking and having super loud
Technical
fans and portable
difficulties and
yeah,
world
AC
travel.
units and world travels, and then it was raining here, so my internet didn't wanna work, so it's been a minute, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like this episode on YouTube, subscribe on the YouTubes. It's just a big red button, just and it's free. We're not even charging you for it, so just hit subscribe. If you listen to this via podcast and you listen on Apple or Spotify or any of the other podcasting apps, please rate and review. Click the 5-star rating. We would love that. If you leave us so nice words. Honestly, I will probably screenshot those and then send them to Kelsey and Tom as I did Ref. Shout out Ref. We love you. Thank you so much for your very kind words. And if you leave us nice YouTube comments, we love that. But we also love the reviews on Apple and Spotify. And for some reason, it helps the algorithm or something like that. I don't
We
actually know. I think that's what I'm supposed to say, but who knows? Yeah.
I believe you,
But
but we don't
yeah,
really know, but do it. We'll find
do it,
out.
please. Yeah. Kels, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
I am on Twitter at KBirdTweets. That is KBURD tweets on Twitter. My link tree is on my Twitter, so you can find me anywhere and everywhere if you find me on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, just search KBird Tweets, Peace, Love, and Baseball on YouTube, and you'll find me there too.
Yeah. With that, we are going to wrap it up and say, "Yay, baseball!" And record. Maybe, and record. There we go.